This is another project I bought from an auction. This whole girl cost me $60. The tires, the rims aren't right. I don't know what they're off of. Because when they're in, you need 15 washers, I guess, to shim it out enough that it doesn't rub on the inside of the fender. But they only did that on one side. As you can see, it was rubbing on this side. I flipped the tires around. It's got the 4-speed transmission in it, which is normal for an 1100, I believe. It's got a 14-horse Kohler swapped into it, which is why I bought it, because I saw 14-horse Kohler and was like, I have a 12-horse at home with a blown engine. I think it's just a head gasket, but we'll see. It might be worse than that now. And the 4-speed transmission that's manual looked cool because I have a hydrostat that's pretty well clapped. I need a cushion valve for it, which basically is the only thing that goes wrong with them. So I took the deck off because it needs a bunch of work, and the belt is currently standing up by itself over there. Flip the tires around. It's not stuck. We're going to see if she'll crank off. Yeah, the belt, it's been on there a little while. Nate, you want to hook up the booster pack? We're going to give it just a sniff of brake clean. And if it goes, then we'll give it the regular gas. We actually have some chainsaw 50-to-1 mix here. And we're going to use that because it'll get some oil in there on the bore. So it doesn't get, all funky. May have to have the clutch. Might have to have the clutch down further. Maybe. Yeah, you're gonna have to go straight to the starter for this one. The key switch must be bad on it. Give it just a, just a sniff of that. And we're gonna be about 1/4 throttle. See if she goes. It needs one of these because that had electrical tape on it. And the choke cable's stuck at the moment, so we're just gonna. Ready. Yep.
All right, come on.
Okay. What's it gonna look like?
Wet.
Wet.
It looks way too gapped.
It does look kind of gapped.
You can't see anything.
Can't see much because there's a shield there. I'm not too worried about it.
Anything?
Go again. It's got compression. So it's the next day, but we're back to it. Got the gas tank out so we can do some wiring work here. So we have the key switch, which this jumbo wires goes into, which goes into this switch, which looks like it was an auxiliary switch for the lights or something, because there's not one there, and this is about the right amount of wire. The deck switch is still there and still wired properly. So this jumps to this switch down here, which is an auxiliary switch, but they have a wire just through the lug, and the highest quality light up, whatever the heck switch that is. I don't know, Harbor Freight or something, running to that switch, and it goes to the plug, and then it goes into the coil. We weren't getting sparks, so we're going to try to figure this out. So, playing with wires, troubleshooting, cleaning contacts, what I found is that when the key is in the crank position, there is no power getting to the coil, only when it's in the run position. Why is that? I don't know, could be because this tractor may have had a magneto on the original Briggs & Stratton engine. I'm not sure. If you guys know about the original Briggs that would have been in this 1100, and if it had a mag or whatever, put it in the comments. I want to hear about it. Help me maybe figure out what's going on here, or if the key switch is just not behaving the whole way. But anyway, we have power directly from there to the coil now, and it makes spark. I did tickle myself with it. Voltage doesn't kill. It just tickles bad. Amps kill. So I am going to give it a little sniff of some sort of flammable substance here and crank it and see if it lights off. If it does, then it'll be simple as taking a key switch out of a combine that we're parting out, sticking it in here because it's a brand new key switch that only has a few hours on it, and then the tranny went out of the combine, so we're going to part it out because The rest of it's not good enough to save as a whole. It's going to go in this, and I'll clean the gas tank out, clean the carburetor out, because I'm sure it's got gunk in the bottom of it from sitting. And start putting it back together, and maybe it'll mow some grass one day. I don't know, we'll see. Probably needs a blade sharpened, and there's like a hole like clear through the front of the deck there, but we got a welder. We'll fix her up. Will it run? It fired right off there pretty quick. Combine, key switch is in, it cranks, it hits on ether real quick. Wanted to make sure my wiring was good. Yeah, it hits on ether and it stalls out. Okay. Gas tank's actually not that bad. Carburetor doesn't actually look that bad. I don't know what they did to this during the engine transplant. It looks like they dropped it on its face because that's cracked. That's cracked. This is down there, I think. Yeah. Something like that. This is supposed to be together and go around there somewhere. Anyway, I'm going to put this back together the way it is. Prove that the machine itself works. Then I'll take my 1250 and start taking the, because it's got these same kind of guards and stuff around it for the airflow. I will take them off and put them on here when I get to it. But I'd kind of like to get this out of the garage. And maybe mow some grass with it. Nope. It kind of looks like a brush hog in the fact that there's no metal under the front of there. Anyway, we'll see what we can do. That looks a little better. Let's see, is it going to pass the leak test? We already know it passes the fire test. Well, it did before I put all the stuff back on it, so I guess we may have to check that again. Well, as you can tell by the way that it is, it didn't pass the leak test. First, my gas can didn't pass the leak test. The snout on it started leaking everywhere. Then I got that cleaned up. I opened the valve and it started leaking out of this hose clamp. I tightened that up. And then it started leaking the entire way around the bowl. And I was like, well, that's not good. So I shut the gas off, took the bowl off. Bowl's full, as I expected. It's not dirty in there, which was very unexpected. But the needle and seat valve was not seating. So I took that off, cleaned it. These have a little rubber tip on the end of the needle, which I'd never seen in any other carburetor before, but I've never been in a Cub Cadet carburetor before. Got that all cleaned up. It seals off. There's no leaks at the moment. And I don't know which way on is, but I've had it in both positions for several minutes, and it doesn't leak anymore. And I forgot which way on's supposed to be. So I'm going to try to start it like this because it's easier to take the car back off and see a leak without that mess on there. So we're going to try that out. Runs. We'll finish putting it back together. I'll drive it up off the deck that it's sitting on because the deck needs some help before it does anything. And I think the spindles are probably all locked up on it too. But at least I can have this running, driving, doing something. I got to make some spacers for the tires because when they're set out like that, they're too far out for the deck. But when they're set in the whole way, since they're not Cub Cadet rims, I don't know what they're off of. They rub the fenders, so I got to make a certain size spacer to get them to sit out just far enough. But that'll be probably in another video. That'll be the will it mow again with this mower deck, which I'd like to, but we'll see about the whole driving deal this evening. A little choke cable here, yeah, it's kind of rigged up. The one that's in here stuck at the moment, I don't have one to put in, so next time I go somewhere that has choke cables, I will get one, put a real choke cable in, but for now, just to put it around, I got that. My 126 I'm playing with now, you can actually get to this little lever on the carb because the air filter is a little different on it than this one. It doesn't have this port coming out of the the fan there going in there, so it's just a small round filter, and you can get in to flip that by hand, because the choke cable got stuck on it too, because it's outside a lot of the time because I don't have anywhere to put it inside at the moment. Let's see if she runs. A little bit of throttle, about half choke, clutch is down. Give it all the choke. No choke. Give it some throttle. I think this battery's getting to the end of its days. I thought it was good, but apparently it's not. Well, she's sat about 24 hours. I put the air cleaner and stuff back on. We'll see if she'll start. If she'll start, nice and easy, we'll take her for a drive. She's not going to be mowing today, because I think the spindles are still locked up and many other things are going on. However, we're going to see if this $60 lawnmower is going to go for a drive. No, it's going to leak gas all over the floor. Dang it. It runs. It runs good. But we've got a problem with the clutch. And the fact that we don't have a clutch.